Good evening, guys. Once again, you are welcome to NEET PG Live Daily. As we are discussing about antibiotics, last time I have discussed about this macrolide antibiotics. Before that, we have already discussed fluoroquinolones and sulfonamides. So in this same series, today I am here to take up tetracyclines and a structural modification of tetracycline that had led to an advanced form of tetracycline, that is glycyl cyclines, have better activity, expanded coverage against various pathogens and all that. So we will be talking about tetracycline today. This is just to to introduce myself for those who are attending this platform for the first time. My name is Dr. Pramod Kumar Sharma, and I'm a super specialty in clinical pharmacology, and I have done my MD and DM both from PGI Chandigarh. Guys, again I am reminding you about this utility of this Telegram app, which is a kind of messenger app. But this app gives you a lot of information once you have joined this particular group where we as educator shares a lot of information about our classes, and moreover an academy can also share many information on this particular group. So you will be getting all these information well in time, and we often share the timing of the class, or what topic I'm going to take today and at what time I will be available. So if you have any, you are just waiting desperately for a particular topic to be watched by you to remove your doubts or confusions, etc., or maybe you like some educators, your favorite educator, you don't want to miss any class of that favorite educator, you can always have idea when he's going live and all that. So this kind of information you have beforehand on this through use of this Telegram app. So I would suggest that you all guys have this app on your system as well as join this group. But obviously this is a bad part, that you can't share any messages, you will just receive messages, but that is sufficient. That is I think maximum what you need, that you should have information about the classes well in advance. This is a learning app which is devised by Unacademy, and this learning app gives you an opportunity to attend different kind of different platform where you also have opportunity to watch free live sessions in the form of special classes. And these special classes are little special in the terms that here you have opportunity to interact with educator. This interaction possibility is there. So these chances of interaction you hardly get on YouTube platform. So this is one thing. This is special in another sense, that once you follow any educator on this platform or this app, you can directly send him message regarding your query, doubt, anything related to this lessons or these academic sessions. So you can be given answer well in time by the educator, and this is one thing which nobody would have offer free of cost. But this special class is called a special class because of these unique features. And the interface which this platform, once you are on this platform, you will feel the difference. This is a bit different from YouTube platform. This interface is really very attractive. You would like, this is one step ahead of YouTube platform, and moreover this also would give some sort of idea about the NEET PG Plus platform, which is a premium service which is on the subscription basis. So this will give you or you will sensitize about the how the NEET PG Plus will look like. So if you do not have this learning app, guys, what you are waiting for, just get it. Go and get it, and just show your faces on special classes and enjoy the benefits of these free classes, and inform about this Unacademy learning app to most of your friends, or ask your friends to convey this to their friends as well, so that this should be utilized, this free service should be utilized by the maximum individuals. This is all free of cost, so don't have to pay a single penny. But for those who are looking for something more than the free classes, because they think that they are doing self studies, they are attending these free classes, but they feel they need something more to be to be sure that yes, they are going to make it this year to the in any PG entrance examination. So they are looking for some other features or other services along with these free classes, that is in the form of the good study material, the more interaction with the educators, and the the way to know where exactly they stand, their performance analysis and all that, and a more interactive platform, or moreover they need more personalized attention. So all this can be met, or can be you can find all these special features only on this NEET PG Plus, which is a premium service provided by NEET PG, this Unacademy as NEET PG Plus, but this is available on paid service, because no premium service is free, and you would realize also once you are on this platform that it deserves to be a paid service. So the subscription is you need to buy a subscription for this to enjoy the NEET Plus advantages, and the subscription is open throughout the year, and there are different periods for which you can subscribe to this channel. So I have already told you a number of times, I have told you that the subscription is available for 24 months as well as 12 months. 24-month one is good for those who are still in final year, and they are from this time on, from the final year itself, they are into PG entrance examination mode, entrance examination preparation mode. So that this 24-month subscription will be best suited for them, because this will not only keep them on track, on routine, they will have a daily routine to study and all that, and that will enhance their performance not only in their university exams, but they will be more prepared or well prepared for their first PG entrance examination to once they complete this 24 months of subscription. So this is how they can plan very well in advance. So these people are foresighted people, they can see much beyond what a normal person can see. But for those who are actually wants to avail these facilities, special facilities, but do not want to subscribe for 2 years, they should at least have subscription for 12 months. And this is usually for the individuals, those who are appearing for the first time, buying any subscription for the first time, or those who have already had a failed attempt in any PG entrance and all that. So they need something extra to boost up their confidence and to make their chances of getting PG seat little higher. So for those, this 12-month period is sufficient, and because the course is MBBS course is a voluminous, and this 12-month period is required at least to have almost complete coverage of the syllabus, as well as it will make you this time is required, this much period is required to make you acquainted with or familiar with all the experts who will be teaching you the different subjects. So this is required for you to get familiar with all quality teachers and all that. And moreover, during this 12 months period, you will come across various customized special courses that are being launched by different educators on this platform, keeping in mind the the requirement of the learners, the the different PG entrance, keeping in mind the way different PG entrance examination are conducted. So they are all customized kind of special courses, so you can attend more and more courses. So you will be in this 12 months is sufficient for you to at least prepare well, or better prepare you for your next PG entrance examination. So we expect that such an effort, and if you join this NEET PG Plus, would definitely improve your chances of cracking an exam. And once you have decided to join, you don't forget to apply this my referral code, and as a result of which you will get 10% off on your subscription amount. So if you look at the subscription fee that is available for 12 months and 24 months, after applying this 10% discount, is hardly is 20,000 or 25,000. So I don't think it's a bad bargain. The Unacademy is charging reasonably. This is the worth paying this amount for such a long period of subscription. And you can pay as per the there are different mode of electronic payments you can select as per your convenience. But don't forget to apply this code of mine, which will get you or avail you 10% instant discount on the fee. What are the advantages or special facilities that Unacademy subscription in the form of NEET PG Plus is providing to these learners? You attend live classes, there's no doubt about that, but in these live classes, these are little different from other live classes, because here these classes are very interactive, where you have ample opportunity to raise your queries, questions, doubts, and you can frequently interact with the educator in real time. So this gives you a feeling of being in the real class, that is you are as if you are physically present in the class. And I personally believe that if there is no communication between the educator and the learner, as happens in the on NEET PG live daily sessions, but there is some opportunities there on the special classes. But here you have you can interrupt educator as many time as possible, but not unnecessarily, and for the valid reasons. So this is important for learning process to become more efficient and more fruitful. And because the communication should be the two-way, it should not be a one-sided affair. So this is the one thing. And moreover, it is a premium service, paid service, so everybody should expect that the number of learners would be less. So educator has an opportunity, and it is feasible for the educator also to have idea about each and every learner, their plus and negative points, so that educator can focus more on their negative points and can make them little can improvise on them. And further they can give a kind of individualized attention or personalized attention, so that way learners are considered as privileged learner. And other facilities like live polls and leaderboard not only help you understand your position in the group, and we also come to know about the performance of the group and all, and where exactly our effort should be focused, or more should be more जहाँ ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है वहाँ हम लगा सकें अपने एफर्ट्स. इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट कोर्स मटेरियल, बहुत सारे टेस्ट सीरीज़ हैं, उनके एनालिसिस हैं. जितने आप ज़्यादा करोगे उतना बेहतर कर पाओगे, और जितना ज़्यादा करोगे उतना आप में कॉन्फिडेंस भी आएगा. और उसके बाद आप जब भी क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं, कुछ भी करते हैं, तो आपको लगता है कि मोस्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस यू आर डूइंग राइट, एंड that way it gives you a kind of kick, and you enjoy it, and then you become addicted to studies. You like it, it's kind of addiction, because anything which gives you a kind of happiness, that gives that makes you addictive also. That is called reward phenomenon. So this test series analysis is the best way to involve yourself in the studies and enjoy that as well. And as per the mandate of this NEET PG Plus platform, we all educators are supposed to take dedicated live doubt clearing session after every 3 lessons which have been taught in the past. So though the doubt clearing can be done during the live classes itself, it is there is no restriction on that, the number of questions that are to be asked, but you should have valid questions. And but anyway, any learner can come across any new information which he is not able to decode or decipher, so that way he can always ask an educator in this live doubt clearing session and can dispel his confusion and all that. So this is a program which or platform that NEET PG has created, keeping in mind all the needs of these learners, because Unacademy is in this field for the past a very long time, and the Unacademy understands the pulse of each and every, or requirement of each and every learner. So that way they must have had in their mind to incorporate these special features in this NEET PG Plus, so that you can be benefited in the most efficient way. And this is this particular platform meets all your needs, or can satisfy all your needs that the learners are looking for. And this is a kind of one-stop solution for all you guys, all your needs. So don't go anywhere, you just be on this platform, then your everything extra we will take care of. And we will try that you become so prepared for the exams that their chances, probability of cracking the examination becomes much more higher for you. So be on this platform, and this is your call, because I have just explained you the advantages of this NEET PG Plus platform. Though it is paid basis, but definitely you will derive more and more benefit than any other free classes and all that. And you will later realize that yes, being on this platform is really fun and actually helped you achieve your goal. So this is all about Unacademy subscription and the special features of this NEET PG Plus. Let us talk about the tetracyclines, which is the topic of the topic of the day. Let me tell you that these tetracyclines are you can see this 4-ring structure. They are all derivatives of this basic 4-ring structures, and whatever changes chemical modifications etc is done in this is the basic skeleton. And the chlorotetracycline actually was a natural product which was introduced in way back in 1942, and it was extracted from derived from Streptomyces aureus, this kind of Streptomyces. Oxytetracycline was derived from Streptomyces ramosus. This is Aureophanes, this Aureophanes. This and it is considered as the prototype of this class. And because whenever we talk about the prototype, because it is the most or the first agent in this group which made its appearance in the therapeutic field for the first time. And oxytetracycline, as I said, it is also derived from a natural source, that is Streptomyces ramosus. It's a natural product also. Thereafter came some synthetic modification made in this structure, all this, and that led to the development of tetracycline. Tetracycline is not a generic term. It is used as a generic term, tetracycline group of drugs, but tetracycline itself is an agent, and it is a semi-synthetic derivative, and it is a semi-synthetic derivative of chlorotetracycline, derived from chlorotetracycline. Other than that, we have metacycline, doxycycline, minocycline, all are semi-synthetic. And if you talk about the uses of these agents, the doxycycline and minocyclines are most commonly used agent. In fact, the doxycycline is the most commonly used agent, although there are drugs like tetracycline is also used. It's not that, but doxycycline is the most commonly used agent and most popular agent among all these. But we have agents, newer agent which is considered as or named as glycyl cyclines. So one of the agent, that is tigecycline, in that group is still available with us for the clinical use. So if we have the activities or chemical or physical activity characteristics of these compounds, the free tetracycline, which is not a salt, free tetracycline is a crystalline amphoteric substance. Amphoteric, they have both kind of active, they have lipid solubility as well as water solubility. They behave in a amphoteric form. But the problem with this free crystalline tetracycline is it has poor low aqueous solubility. So they have all been formulated as hydrochloride salts to improve their solubility. I told you the purpose of making salt is to either improve their stability, to improve their cell solubility, etc., or to improve their viability, etc. These are the reason why the salts are more commonly used than the free drug. But these salt solutions which are formed, hydrochloride salt solutions, they are acidic but stable as well. So this is the advantage of this that can increase the shelf life of these drugs. This tigecycline is a glycyl cycline, which is a group related to tetracycline. It is also a semi-synthetic derivative, and it is derived from semi-synthetic derivative of minocyclines. So it is derived from minocycline, and the advantage is that it has broader spectrum activity that I will talk about. So many of the tetracycline resistant strains, may be susceptible to these doxycycline, minocycline, tigecycline, and that will depend upon what kind of resistance mechanism is the major mechanism involved in imparting resistance in bacterial strains or bacterial species. So if the efflux mechanism is the most common or efflux mechanism is the major mechanism in those bacteria is the more common mechanism for resistance in those bacteria, then they will be sensitive to this doxycycline, minocycline and tigecycline, because these three agents are not a substrate for this pump mechanism or this efflux pump, not a substrate. So they can be effective if these bacteria are resistant to other tetracycline compound, but these three can be effective if the major mechanism of resistance is efflux, because these are not substrate for efflux mechanism. This is a new classification. I have searching the literature and all that. I came across this kind of classification, and I found it. This is nowhere given in any books and all that. So I found it little novel kind of thing, and I thought of incorporating this in my slide because it is a little different. Otherwise, people have usually classified drugs based on their half-life and all that. But this classification is based on in groups, divided drugs are divided group depend upon their specific properties. Like group 1 compounds have reduced absorption as they are less lipophilic, and similarly the group 2 compounds are more or less completely absorbed. Their viability is better, and because they are 3 to 5 times more lipophilic than the group 1 compound. and group 3 is active against many bacteria with acquired resistance to tetracyclines. So these are the drugs, and I have already said this, mentioned that tetracycline, chlortetracycline available in both form, peroral and IV. Rest are oral only, but Rolly tetracycline is only available for IV. This monocycline, and it can be given IV and oral both, and TG cycline is available only in the IV form, right? So this is, I thought, is a better classification which gives more information than any other form of tetracycline classification. If you talk about mechanism of action, each this antibiotic have their unique mechanism of action, and we know this tetracycline are important. They primarily act by inhibiting the protein synthesis in the bacteria, and most of the drugs which are bacteriostatic, they do they work by the same mechanism, by inhibiting protein synthesis. So this tetracycline is a little different because its target is on the 30S bacterial ribosome rather than the 50S ribosome, which we discussed with macrolides. And the mechanism is that it prevents, after binding to 30S bacterial ribosome, it prevents the binding of the transfer RNA, which is coming with a new amino acid, that is called amino acid transfer RNA, to attach to the acceptor site, that is A site. So this is prevented by this tetracycline. So if it is not done, then what will happen? The amino acid brought in by the transfer RNA, amino acid transfer RNA, that will not get linked to the peptide chain which is being formed, and there will be no formation of the bond and all that, because it is not allowed to occupy the acceptor site, that is A site. And thus there will be no addition of amino acid to growing peptides, so there will be inhibition of protein synthesis. So these cells, antibiotics actually permeate through the biological membrane of these bacteria by two different mechanisms. That is, one is passive diffusion, and that occurs mainly due to hydrophilic channels on the outer cell membrane of the bacteria, which are formed by the porine proteins. These are hydrophilic channels through which the drug can passively enter through passive diffusion. So this is partly responsible for entry of the drug inside the cell, and partly through this energy dependent active transport mechanism. And the organisms which are susceptible to the tetracycline, they concentrate the drug in very high quantity. Concentrate means they actually have very high concentration intracellularly. So this occurs only in the susceptible organism, because the resistant organisms do not allow either the entry, influx of the antibiotic, or even if it occurs, they will throw it out through efflux pump mechanism. This is how it acts at mechanism of action. You can see this is 30S ribosome, where this is the messenger RNA template on which the protein synthesis is occurring. So amino acid transfer RNA with it has there are codons on the messenger RNA, and they have anticodons. So these are also called charged transfer RNA because they are charged with some amino acid. So come and they bind to the acceptor site A with the corresponding codon on the messenger RNA, and after they bind to A site, the chain which is attached to the B site, this codon, this transfer RNA, because this is peptidyl site, P site, or donor site we can say. So there is formation of peptide bond. This is called transpeptidation. After this happens, so entire thing, this is freed, this chain gets attached to this, and this get transferred to P site. This is called translocation. And after that, this translocation, this peptide chain is Actually again the new transfer RNA comes and that get links to that, so this becomes empty actually ultimately, and this is called ejection site. So this uncharged transfer RNA is ejected from here, and this peptide chain through the peptide tunnel exit tunnel can go out and further processed. So the this tetracycline is differing from this chloramphenicol or macrolides, that it binds to 30S ribosome rather than the 50S ribosome. This is the difference, right? So I think you could understand that this is amino acyl transfer RNA, this is peptidyl transfer RNA, this is bonding, peptide bond is formed because chain is lengthened. So this is transpeptidation reaction, this is transferases, so this translocation is there. And once this actually becomes empty because it joins here and this shifts here, and again another charged this becomes empty, then again charged transfer RNA comes, then again it joins here, so this become empty, vacant, so that goes to ejection site, and from there it is actually removed. This is how bacterial synthesis, protein synthesis occur. Spectrum of activity, you can see this is a narrow spectrum antibiotic because it has all pathogens are from the same class or similar colors. They have different colors, means they act on variety of this particular drug act on variety of pathogens. That is why it is broad spectrum. Tetracycline are primarily bacteriostatic agents, remember this, and they are active, they are broad spectrum, and they have activity against a variety of organisms, both but by default they have more activity against gram positive when compared to gram negative organism. Let's see, the tetracyclines have good activity against Streptococcus pyogenes, and this is penicillin sensitive Streptococcus pneumoniae. But resistance is very common, and though activities against these two pathogens is very good, but resistance is very common in group B streptococci. And penicillin resistant Streptococcus pneumoniae. I was talking yesterday when this Streptococcus pneumoniae is resistant to macrolide, they will be having resistance to penicillin also, but these tetracyclines have maintained their excellent activity against this methicillin sensitive Staph aureus and methicillin resistant Staph aureus. But please remember, this MRSA is from community acquired, not hospital acquired. Nosocomial MRSA will not respond to tetracycline. Those are deadly bacteria. And other than that, but this activity against enterococci is very poor. These agents, doxycycline and minocycline, considered to be a better tetracycline. They are active against some tetracycline resistant isolate, other tetracyclines, because they are from group 2. So you can see that they have meaningful activity against Bacillus anthracis, that is cause anthrax, Listeria monocytogenes. Listeria is an important infection. This, anaerobes, against anaerobes, they have good activity against anaerobes, especially this Propionibacterium, Peptococcus, and bacteroid species, Peptococcus and bacteroid species. Though it is okay, but we have better drugs available against these anaerobes. For example, chloramphenicol has good activity against anaerobes. We have metronidazole, we have clindamycin, we have certain penicillins like ampicillin and many extended spectrum penicillins, etc. They have good activity, better activity against anaerobes than doxycycline, etc. One very surprising thing is that H. influenzae means these tetracyclines have retained their activity against H. influenzae. H. influenzae is still sensitive, but this Enterobacteriaceae increasing resistance has actually reduced the utility of tetracycline in the Enterobacteriaceae infection. And most strains of Burkholderia pseudomallei, this causes a disease called melioidosis. Almost 90% of the strains of Burkholderia and almost all the strains of the Brucella are sensitive to the tetracyclines. And this doxycycline is very important in case of infection caused by variety of agents like bacterial Haemophilus ducreyi that can cause chancroid, Vibrio cholerae which can cause cholera, Campylobacter jejuni can cause an enteritis, H. pylori is involved in ulcer peptic disease, Yersinia pestis can cause plague, Yersinia enterocolitica can also cause enterocolitis, and Francisella tularensis can cause tularemia, Pasteurella maltosida can also lead to other infections. So sensitivity is at par or means satisfactory activity of doxycycline against all these infections. And moreover, these tetracyclines can be used alternative agent for treatment of actinomycosis, though the actinomycosis respond best to penicillin G, but these tetracycline can also treat actinomycosis and used as an alternative agent. These tetracyclines are also active against many spirochetes, especially the Treponema pallidum, which is the causative cause of the causative organism in syphilis, Treponema pertineo, which causes Yaw's disease, and it can also be Borrelia recurrentis, Borrelia burgdorferi, which are involved in Lyme disease or relapsing fever, etc. But they are also active against many other organisms, especially the doxycycline. You can Mycoplasma, Legionella species, Chlamydia, Chlamydia species. Other than that, it can be atypical Mycobacterium, and protozoa like Falciparum. It can be active against other anything else, Legionella, Mycoplasma, Chlamydia, atypical Mycobacteria, Falciparum, etc. So this is active against many agent. But one thing is very important about please you should know that tetracyclines are means all the strains of Pseudomonas aeruginosa is resistant to tetracyclines. This is a very dangerous bacteria, so resistant. So this is activity against other organism also, this doxycycline, etc., because doxycycline is the most commonly used agent. This glycyl cycline, we have only one agent available from this particular class, that is tigecycline. This has improved, revived the activity of this group of drug because they are broad spectrum antibiotics. So it is active against all the organisms that are susceptible to tetracycline and those who have developed resistance to tetracyclines. Because the tetracycline had good activity against many cocci, but it was not effective. They were not effective against poor activity against enterococci. They are not active against Enterobacteriaceae, very poor activity, and they had bad activity against Pseudomonas and all that. But this glycylcycline has improved activity against Enterococci, Enterobacteriaceae, Acinetobacter, and anaerobes, especially gram-negative anaerobes, including Bacteroid fragilis. Almost 95% of the Bacteroid fragilis isolates are sensitive to this glycylcycline. So because of this improved activity against these agents, this has got expanded or indications. It has been used in certain infection where tetracycline are of no use, and it is inactive against many organisms. For I told you, it is inactive against Pseudomonas. Still, there is no activity against Pseudomonas. Other than that, it is inactive against Proteus also, and also the Providencia species. So these are the species where this drug cannot act. And one more important thing is this: despite its broader spectrum activity and more enhanced activity against the resistant strains, but these older tetracyclines has higher or better activity than this tigecycline against this Stenotrophomonas and Uroplasma infections. These organisms respond better to the older tetracycline, Uroplasma, Uralyticum, Stenotrophomonas, all these agents. So this is little unusual. Resistance in tetracycline is primarily plasmid mediated, and this can be induced by inducible by continuous presence of an agent. It can be induced, and there are different mechanisms. The three most important mechanisms have been demonstrated that have led to the resistance against tetracycline. One is the decreased accumulation, that is due to either the decreased influx of the antibiotic inside the cell, or maybe the enhanced efflux. Once the antibiotics have entered, they are thrown out with the energy dependent pump mechanism, efflux. And this mechanism is the most extensively studied and most common cause of, or most familiar cause of resistance, tetracycline resistance among different pathogens. And another mechanism is ribosomal protection protein, and this gene for this efflux is also present on the plasmids. They are present on the plasmids, and this ribosomal protection protein in providing ribosomal protection so that they cannot bind to the ribosomal binding site. So these two genes are very commonly involved. They are present on the plasmid mediated. Actually, what happens, they lead to production of certain these proteins which binds to ribosomes and leads to conformational change in the ribosome as such that prevents the binding of the tetracycline to the binding site at the 30S ribosome. But this conformational change does not affect the protein synthesis or any alteration in the protein synthesis. But this cannot bind when amino acid transfer RNA cannot bind, the protein production will stop. Enzymatic inactivation is another mechanism for which one gene has been found out, that is TET-X gene, and this gene actually leads to production of certain enzymes that leads to inactivation of the antibiotic in presence of NADPH and leads to chemical modification actually and oxygen. So kind of monooxygenase, maybe oxidation reaction kind of thing is happening. Whether the cross resistance among different agents will be there or not, that will be decided upon the which resistant mechanism is operating or operative. If suppose the major mechanism of resistance in a particular drug is because of the flux mediated phenomenon, then this minocycline or doxycycline will not be there. Will be no cross resistance against doxycycline and minocycline. That is why minocycline and doxycycline are also active against many of the tetracycline resistant bacteria, because these doxycycline and minocyclines are not the substrate for this efflux pump. Also the tigecyclines, but tigecycline differ from others in the sense because it has much of substructural changes, and because of that you know because of that, there are substituents attached to, many substituents are there on the tetracycline molecule that actually made it poor substrate for this efflux pump. And reflux pump, and not only that, the affinity of the TJ cycline for this ribosomal protein has also been enhanced. That is the reason this has activity, expanded spectrum, as well as activity against the tetracycline resistant organism. This is mechanism of resistant, different mechanism. This is the diagrammatic representation. You can see the impermeability to antibiotic, because I told you, because hydrophilic channels are there through porins and all that, so that can be prevented. I told you the flux mechanism is very important, but there is intracellular accumulation may also be reduced by the impermeability to antibiotics. But in tetracycline, more common causes is flux mechanism. Most extensively studies. Moreover, there is change in the modification of the target of high level plasmid mediated resistance, that is streptococcal TET-M, TET-O. All these things can lead to this, inhibit the binding of the tetracycline to the 30S ribosome. Enzymatic inactivation can lead to inactivation of these proteins. So TET-X enzyme, I told you, gene that has been found, and this lead to inactivation of the drug in presence of oxygen and NADPH. Most of the older antibiotics, actually they have incomplete oral absorption, and that has bearing on the side effects and all that I will be discussing. So the poor because of the less solubility, they had poor bioavailability, so incomplete. So it was said that these should be taken on empty stomach, but this problem has been circumvented with the development of the doxycycline and minocycline. And as you increase the dose, the fraction of an unabsorbed drug will increase in the intestinal lumen. So that is there also. And moreover, if these drugs are taken with food, the absorption is further reduced. And because of the presence of many ions, especially the zinc, bivalent or trivalent iron, zinc, iron in the ferrous or ferric form, aluminium, and magnesium, calcium, etc., they can all interfere with the absorption of this tetracycline. So tetracycline were supposed to be taken on empty stomach usually, and the sucralfate, I'm talking about this bismuth compounds can also reduce the absorption. So many of the antacids, this bismuth compounds can also reduce the absorption, as well as the food. And avoid dairy product also, because that also contains calcium, that can also chelate with tetracycline and can reduce their absorption. So these kind of the problem was there with the older tetracyclines. But with the advent of this doxycycline and minocycline, these drugs are absorbed to the tune of 90 to 100%, and their absorption is not affected by either the food or the dairy products. I'm not telling that these metal ions, if these iron supplements are being given, calcium supplements are given, that is a different thing. But these drugs are not affected by either the food, their absorption, or by the dairy products containing even the dairy products. The half-lives, if you to look at the older antibiotics, older tetracyclines, they are 6 to 12 hours. So they are good for BID to QID dosing regimen. But these doxycycline and minocyclines have sufficiently long half-life, 16 to 18 hours. So they can be given once daily. or many cases they can be given twice daily, but they are capable of giving permitted their long half life permit their once a day administration as well. And the bioavailability of doxycycline through oral route is such that it may be absorbed to the tune of 100%. So IV dose and the oral dose produces equivalent plasma concentration with doxycycline. So you will see at many places whenever doxycycline is prescribed in doses, if you are giving oral or IV, the doses remains the same. So this is a question, you can remember this. And these drugs are distributed, have wide distribution. These tetracyclines have wide distribution. They are distributed right from kidney, urine, and they are in the prostate. They are taken up by the reticuloendothelial system cells of the of liver. They are present in the bone marrow. They are present in the bone. They are present in the dentine enamel of the all these things. They are distributed almost everywhere, but the distribution is wide, but as I said, throughout the body. But in CSF there is a very unique thing, that the penetration in the CSF may be not altered by the condition of the meninges, whether they are inflamed or not inflamed. It does not make any difference. And the maximum experience we have treatment of CNS infection with tetracycline is with doxycycline. So doxycycline is usually around 20%. The concentration in the CSF achieved is 20% in comparison to plasma concentration, irrespective of the meninges are inflamed or not inflamed. So this so 200 milligram of dose of doxycycline could produce MIC for the many of the pathogens, and one can use even the higher dose. And this newer drug tigecycline penetrates CSF to the extent of only 10%, but minocycline has better distribution in the CSF, though it is less than 50% of the plasma plasma levels. That is the reason this minocycline is used for eradication of meningococcal carrier state, because it has good penetration in the. These drugs can cross placenta and can get distributed to fetus circulation, amniotic fluid, but they are found in higher amount in the breast milk. The sufficient amount may be present in the breast milk. So if a lady is taking the tetracycline, and the child may be affected, and most of the tetracyclines are primarily eliminated by kidney. Though they are concentrated in the liver, but metabolism is rare or less, and they are excreted and changed in the bile as well. Doxycycline is negligibly or not at all metabolized. Some literature says that it is very minimally metabolized, because when it was used with some enzyme inducer and etc., its AUC etc. decreased or something like that. So very minimally metabolized or not at all metabolized, and it is actually excreted in the urine as it is minimally or not, but it is excreted in the urine unchanged mainly. Tigecycline is mostly excreted unchanged, but some of its it undergoes not extensively, partly metabolism in the liver, and mainly excreted unchanged, and part of it may be in the glucuronide form. Minocycline is also partly metabolized by the liver some extent, but very unique thing about this minocycline is it produces many metabolites. 6 have been demonstrated till date, and the most important one is 9-hydroxy minocycline. But it is metabolized to some extent by the liver, and 1/3 is excreted in the urine and 2/3 in the feces. And this tigecycline is mainly excreted in the feces. And this minocycline we don't require, because for doxycycline also, because it is minimally or not metabolized, and the minocycline is metabolized by some by liver. So the dose modification is rarely required in the renal failure and all that. But in case of tigecycline, because it is partly metabolized, not extensively but metabolized in the liver, so those adjustments have been advocated. And in depending upon the severity of the hepatic disease, these doses may be modified, tigecycline doses. The tetracyclines, I told you, they are broad spectrum antibiotic, and they have innumerable therapeutic uses, and they are the first line therapy for infections by atypical agent that involves rickettsia or mycoplasma, legionella or chlamydia, etc. And the doxycycline is the agent among all the tetracycline group of drugs, which is the most commonly used agent, which is used in variety of infection, right from plague, anthrax, tularemia, brucella, and this plasmodium, mycobacterial infection, and not mycobacterial infection, and many other infections, skin infections, respiratory infections, genital infections. So it is used in almost every indications. With the advent of glycylcycline, because of the unique structural changes that has improved not only its activity against tetracycline resistant bacteria, but also expanded its spectrum of activity. So most of the activity or action that were lost by the tetracycline group of drugs, that has been restored actually with the advent of this tigecycline. But this tigecycline is to be used only in special situations, should be reserved for special situations where you do not have any appropriate alternative agent. So in such case only tigecycline should be used, because it has a black box warning attached with tigecycline, that it has been found in different clinical studies that the number of deaths or the mortality was more in tigecycline group than in comparison to other comparator group. Means other group in which other antibiotic was used, and a group in which tigecycline was used. So mortality was high. So it is to be used. This is available only as parenteral preparation. So it is because it has a long half-life, around 36 hours, varies from 25 to 40 hours depending upon the single dose or repeated dosing. So average is 36 hours. So because of the long half-life, it requires a loading dose, because to achieve the concentration similar to steady state concentration, so it is given as loading dose, 100 milligram IV as loading dose, followed by 50 milligram BID every day. If you talk about the usual oral doses of doxycycline, which is the most commonly used agent, that is why we are talking about doxycycline mainly. It can vary from 1 to 2 gram per day in adults. Similarly, in children, the tetracycline use is to be avoided in children because of the dental side effects and all that. So to be used in children more than 8 years of age, and the dose is 25 to 50 milligram per kg daily, or maximum 2 gram per day, should not exceed more than 2 gram per day. Doxycycline is available both in oral form as well as IV form. The dose is 100 milligram every 12 hours, or you can give IV once only, 200 milligram. You can give up to 200 milligram once only. So it's not necessary to IV doses should not be divided into two. It can be given once daily only. Doxycycline is very effective in infection caused by respiratory pathogens, especially because it has wonderful, excellent sensitivity against activity against the H. influenzae, Streptococcus pneumoniae, and these atypical agents like mycoplasma or chlamydophila pneumophila. So all these agents, so in these RTI caused by these agents, doxycycline is very effective. But tigecycline has been approved with as a single agent only. It does not require any other agent along with it. It has so much good coverage against many pathogens, so it is to be used as a single drugs in those patients who are more seriously ill, that are hospitalized with community acquired bacterial pneumonia. Doxycycline can be used on outpatient basis, but these are for the serious patients, those who are hospitalized. Skin and soft tissues infections, this tigecycline is approved for complicated infection, not uncomplicated, because it has activity, better activity. But the doxycycline and minocycline, they have good activity against staphylococcus and can be used in cutaneous infection caused by methicillin sensitive or methicillin resistant Staph aureus infection, but not complicated one. Complicated infection with tigecycline. Intra-abdominal infection, this is also the approved indication. There are 3 approved indications for tigecycline: this adult hospitalized with community acquired pneumonia, intra-abdominal infection, and complicated SSTIs. Because this tigecycline is active against Enterobacteriaceae, against which most of the tetracyclines have lost their efficacy because of development of resistance. Gram-negative anaerobes, there is less of activity of this tetracycline or others. And Enterococcus, the activity was poor, so this tigecycline is active against all that. So most of the intra-abdominal infections are caused by Enterobacteriaceae anaerobes, gram-negative anaerobes, especially, and Enterococci. So this is why this tigecycline is considered as a good choice in intra-abdominal infections. Sexually transmitted diseases, uncomplicated, though some authorities suggest that it should no longer be used because the resistance in gonorrhea, Neisseria gonorrhoeae, is increasing against these tetracyclines. But US still advocates that use of doxycycline in uncomplicated gonorrhea caused by Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Uncomplicated genital infections, though we have better choice now available with us, as yesterday's topic, if you remember, that was on azithromycin. Azithromycin in 1 gram single dose is very convenient and equally effective, but doxycycline 100 milligram per day for 7 days is equally effective or alternative, but 7-day treatment would always be less preferred than the single dose treatment. So this is also important, that in genital infection doxycycline can act. Acute PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. Usually in this acute pelvic inflammatory disease, other than this anaerobes and all that, this chlamydia trachomatis is also commonly involved in these infections. So one should use doxycycline with cefoxitin or cefotetan. These are the second generation cephalosporin, which have very high activity against anaerobes. So this acute PID, doxycycline with an appropriate and anti-anaerobic cephalosporin is to be used. Acute epididymitis, that is usually caused by caused by Neisseria gonorrhoeae or Chlamydia trachomatis in less than 35 years of male, then it is to be treated with one single injection of ceftriaxone, that is 250 milligram, and 10 days course of doxycycline. And not only that, the female partner should also be treated. This lymphogranuloma venereum, which is caused by Chlamydia trachomatis, it requires a little longer therapy with doxycycline, that is 21 days therapy, and which is a first line therapy in case of lymphogranuloma venereum. Syphilis, syphilis, usually treated with penicillin, but doxycycline can also be used in syphilis, but doxycycline should be used in syphilis in case of primary or secondary syphilis or latent syphilis, but never used for neurosyphilis. And the duration of the treatment will depend upon the duration of the disease, how long the syphilis is persisting. If it is the duration of syphilis is less than 1 year, then we use doxycycline 100 milligram BID for 2 weeks. Or if it is more than 1 year, we use it for 4 weeks in the same doses, 100 milligram twice daily. Rickettsial infections, they are quite dangerous many time. Many of the infection like Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Q fever, uh, murine typhus, recrudescent epidemic typhus, rickettsial pox. Rocky Mountain split fever is very dangerous. It could be life saving. These drugs could be life saving, and after giving these drugs, they are usually preferred giving IV, but orally can also be given. So clinical improvement becomes evident in within 24 hours, and you will not even consider if patient, a pediatric patient less than 8 years of age or 9 years of age is suffering for RMSF, and is a serious infection, then we don't even bother about the side effects of the tetracyclines and all that. We can, despite all this risk, we always use doxycycline can be used to prevent the life of the patient. And dose is initially this 200 milligram on the first day, and followed by the maintenance dose that is little lesser or is almost equal. They can be used for prevention. This is prophylactic value in scrub typhus, single dose 200 milligram, single dose. Anthrax caused by Bacillus anthracis, and this has been considered as a or viewed as a weapon of bioterrorism also. So anthrax is even can be inhalational or GI anthrax. We can use doxycycline, and the treatment is to be given for at least 60 days. Anthrax has different varieties, I think. If we talk about topical use, trachoma or inclusion conjunctivitis caused by Chlamydia trachomatis can be used. This tetracycline locally can be applied, and there is also a form of local treatment that is usually used by dentists in case of adult periodontitis. This is a kind of extended release preparation, 10% extended release preparation. They are actually applied subgingivally to in periodontal disease, and dose depends on the size of the pocket, shape of the pocket, or how many pockets you have made in the subgingival area to correct this on this periodontitis. Other infections, the Brucella infection caused by any Brucella species can be tackled with tetracycline, but we require in conjunction with rifampicin or streptomycin. Also says these Francisella tularensis causing tularemia, streptomycin is preferable, though the tetracyclines can also act. Actinomycosis caused by Actinomyces israelii, that is also alternative treatment. Doxycycline or tetracycline can be used as an alternative treatment, but the penicillin G are the best. Nocardiosis can be treated with minocycline, but one should always include sulfonamides along with that to make therapy more successful. Plague due to Yersinia pestis, I have already told you that doxycycline is very effective. Prophylaxis of malaria due to falciparum, usually in travelers who are or requiring prophylaxis for less than 4 months, and traveling to area where have falciparum, which is resistance to chloroquine or sulfadoxine plus pyrimethamine. If they are going to these areas, so it can be used for chemoprophylaxis. Doxycycline to be used 1 to 2 days before the your journey, and should be used throughout the stay during those endemic areas or whatever. and after coming back you should take it for at least 4 weeks. This is the regimen for prophylaxis of malaria due to Plasmodium falciparum if you are traveling to this falciparum dominant area. Or chloroquine resistant falciparum malaria, in this case you can use this doxycycline 200 milligram per oral for at least 7 days. 7 days, but it is to be used with rapid sinusoidal drugs, especially the quinine. Yaws is a disease caused by spirochetes like Treponema partenio, or Bartonella, also known as cat scratch disease. Cat scratch disease caused by Bartonella bacilliformis. In that, this can be used. Leptospira is a dangerous disease. Leptospira icterhemorrhagica can cause hemorrhagic conditions and jaundice, etc. For the prophylaxis of that, this doxycycline can be used. Relapsing fever or Lyme disease, they are called by Borrelia burgdorferi, that cause Lyme disease, and relapsing fever is called by Borrelia recurrentis, because recurrent relapsing fever. But this relapsing fever are two type. This can be louse-borne or tick-borne. This depends upon the different geographical location. It is active against doxycycline, also atypical mycobacterial infection, especially the Marinum. H. pylori eradication, we all know that tetracycline is one of the antibiotic out of 2 antibiotics that are used with the acid suppressing agent, and in all used for eradication of H. pylori in case of peptic ulcer disease associated with H. pylori infection. Meningococcal carrier state, minocycline, I said that 100 milligram orally twice daily for 5 days can remove this, can eradicate this carrier state. But this minocycline is preferred because it has better penetration in the CSF. But the resistance is gradually increasing among Neisseria meningitis and in Neisseria meningitis, and the ciprofloxacin and rifampicin is preferred more than the minocycline. Vincent's infection, also called as Vincent angina, is caused by Fusobacterium fusiforme, in which you can use doxycycline and all. Or the infection caused by Clostridium species, they are all anaerobes and gram-positive anaerobes, so can be effective. Ocular infection caused by gonococci, staphylococci, or H. influenzae in the form of conjunctivitis and all that can also be treated. And used in the prophylaxis of traveler's diarrhea, especially caused by enterotoxigenic E. coli. Enterotoxigenic E. coli. Probably this is the very common cause among all strains of E. coli. This enterotoxigenic coli is a common cause of traveler's diarrhea. And the demoxycycline, though it is very rarely used as an antibiotic agent, but it can induce a situation like nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. It makes the action of the ADH on the kidney make kidney resistant to the action of the ADH, so it can be used in syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone. As usual, every drug has side effects. None of these available medicines are free of side effects. If you ask me, there are no substance that is devoid of side effect. The most common side effects that are encountered with tetracycline use are GI related, and they are more common when they are taken with they are taken orally, and they are mainly the result of the direct irritant effect of or local irritant effect of the agent, that can be attributed to direct local irritant effect of these drugs. And this gastric irritation can occur in the form of epigastric burning, distress, abdominal discomfort, diarrhea, because these drugs can cause diarrhea because these old compounds are very much incompletely absorbed, so there is high concentration of the unabsorbed drugs in the intestine, which can affect gut flora and all that, and can lead to diarrhea. And nausea, vomiting common, but this nausea, vomiting can occur also with tigecycline, which is given only parenterally, so but these side effects can be improved, or tolerability can be improved by giving them with food. But you said, the older compounds, their viability is affected by the food, so this is a little problematic, and not only that, other GI side effects like esophagitis and esophageal ulcers has occurred with the use of tetracyclines. So like we have this protocol in while we are taking bisphosphonate, that are anti-osteoporotic drugs, that we are to take that drug and remain upright for at least half an hour. So same in the case of tetracycline, you take it with the enough amount of water and stay in erect posture for at least 30 minutes to prevent this kind of problems. And because of the long-term therapy with tetracyclines, and I told you, because of this unabsorbed tetracycline and all that, there is gut flora is affected, and but the incidence of Clostridium difficile pseudomembranous colitis is less as compared to other drugs. But because of all this, other opportunistic infection can occur, like moniliasis, thrush, and candida esophagitis may develop with long-term therapy with tetracyclines. Another problem with this use of tetracyclines is photosensitivity, and this photosensitivity can occur with several agent of this group, especially the democlocycline, the doxycycline, and the other tetracycline also. And not only that, tigecycline can also lead to photosensitivity, and the photosensitivity is more common in fair-skinned person. And also along with this, there could be onycholysis and pigmentation of the nails with or without photosensitivity. That can also happen. So one should be very careful when they are exposing themselves to sun or sunlight. So they should wear full clothes and all that, and or use these sunscreens and all. Hepatic toxicity, it is very surprising that hepatic toxicity occurs in those with patients with renal failure, especially who are using, because these drugs are mainly primarily eliminated by the kidney. That could be the reason. So those who are using the tetracycline doses higher than 2 gram per day IV, so this can lead to hepatotoxicity, but this can occur with oral doses also if too high doses are being used also. And pregnant women are particularly susceptible for this hepatotoxicity, and it has been speculated that doxycycline is probably safer in this regard and hardly cause hepatotoxicity. Renal toxicity, because these drugs have anti-anabolic effect, they promote catabolism, so they may aggravate azotemia of the renal failure, and can increase blood urea nitrogen as well. And not only that, this can induce nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. That is, I have already told you, with democlocycline. That is, so we exploit this side effect of democlocycline for our therapeutic purpose. And nephrotoxicity may be enhanced with when tetracyclines are used with other drugs, especially the diuretics. And this is a specific syndrome which is observed with the use of outdated tetracycline. That it was advised that they should not be used beyond their date of expiry, because they undergo degradation and can produce toxic byproducts, which actually have toxic effects on the proximal convoluted tubules. So this Fanconi syndrome can, kind of picture may appear with these outdated tetracycline if consumed, and that is characterized by nausea, vomiting, polydipsia, polyuria, glycosuria, renal tubular acidosis, and aminoaciduria, and all these things can occur in patient with Fanconi syndrome. Proteinuria, yes. So this is a picture of Fanconi syndrome. So one should be very careful while using tetracycline. One should take always look at the expiry date of these drugs, because they are degraded into toxic derivatives or byproducts, which actually have toxic effect on the proximal tubules. Effects on teeth, because this tetracycline is very much has earned bad name because of their reaction on the adverse effect related to the dental because of their dental related side effects and all that. So they can lead to permanent brown discoloration. Not only that, they can also lead to fluorescence discoloration and enamel dysplasia as well. And this way is toxicity is more when the exposure occurs before the primary dentition, but it can occur also from 2 months to 5 years when the dental calcification is occurring. But this kind of side effects is not related to the duration of the treatment, rather than the dose of the drug, the total dose which has been used. So it is a kind of cumulative toxicity. It will depend upon the total amount of tetracycline that has been used, not the duration. Of course, if you use it for longer duration, then the total dose would be more. And during pregnancy, if tetracyclines are used, they can get deposited in the skeleton and teeth of the fetus, and can lead to these kind of problems in their children. But this can occur only after the birth. Also, if the children are taking drugs, this fluorescence discoloration and enamel dysplasia can also occur in them. And this is because of the formation of tetracycline calcium orthophosphonate complex. And this is why these drugs, because of formation of that complex, that can affect this bone growth, and deformity can also be produced. But if it is given for short term and withdrawn, discontinued, this can be corrected. But if it is for long term, then they become permanent. IV administration of tetracycline can cause thrombophlebitis, and this has also been exploited in therapeutics. Suppose if you want to obliterate the pleural cavity, because so you can put this tetracycline, and it would lead to inflammation, can lead to complete obliteration of pleural cavity and all that. So that can be used in such cases, pleuritis and all that. And IM administration is very painful, so never given. Pseudotumor cerebri, that is increased intracranial hypertension, you can say. But this is without any reason. So in such cases, usually the sign and symptoms are patient might have headache, may have diplopia, may have blurred vision, or may have visual loss, even blurred vision, or may have visual loss because of papilledema or all that. So it is required that the patient should undergo fundoscopy to check for all these problems, so that timely corrective measures can be taken. Vestibular toxicity, which actually manifests as dizziness, nausea, vomiting, ataxia, all this. And this is more common with minocycline and can appear initially after dosing also. But good thing is that once you discontinue the treatment, they disappear within 24 to 48 hours. And though it was commonly associated with minocycline, but it has been found that if doxycycline is used in higher doses, that can also lead to vestibular toxicity. Skin reactions as such with tetracycline group of drugs are rare. If you ask me, and to be honest, they are in fact rare with tetracycline group of drug, but other allergic phenomena like angioedema and anaphylaxis can occur, and there are other kind hypersensitivity reaction leading to these kind of symptoms like burning of eyes, chelosis, atrophic glossite, and this chelosis, atrophic, something is missing here. Pruritus ani or vulva, or you can vaginitis, hypertrophic glossitis. These are the problems which even after the discontinuation of the drug, this remain or they persist for weeks or months together. So this is a little cause of concern. And the cross sensitization is common. If a patient is having sensitivity to a particular tetracycline, would definitely have sensitization to other member of that group. So this is cross sensitization is quite common. Finally, let us talk about drug interactions. The tetracycline use can decrease prothrombin activity. Continuous tetracycline use can decrease prothrombin activity. So if you are using tetracycline and patient is on an anticoagulant, some anticoagulant, so try adjusting the dose of the anticoagulant, because that might require decrease in the doses of the anticoagulant. Avoid using in conjunction with penicillin. This is the simple principle logic, because penicillins are active bactericidal drugs and act on rapidly dividing bacteria or those who are in growth phase, and tetracycline being bacteriostatic will prevent this. So there will be an antagonism kind of thing. So don't use with tetracycline with any drugs which have action on or don't use with penicillins group of drug. Bivalent, trivalent ions reduce absorption. I have already told zinc supplement or the calcium supplement or the iron supplement in the ferric form or ferrous form, or this bismuth compounds or anything like magnesium, etc. They can all interfere with the absorption. Not only that, dairy product can also interfere with absorption, except the minocycline and doxycycline. And those who are using OCPs, it has been observed that patient on tetracycline therapy can reduce the efficacy of OCPs. So during that period, either the alternative mode of contraception should be used, or some other extra precautions should also be taken. Barbiturate, carbamazepine, phenytoin have shown to decrease the half-life of doxycycline, though doxycycline is minimally metabolized. Many thought, in fact, that it is not metabolized, but with these drugs, its half-life decreased, doxycycline. So this is important. And tetracycline with methoxyfluorine, though methoxyfluorine is rarely used now, that can result in fatal renal toxicity, so that is to be avoided. Now methoxyfluorine is almost out of use. And in diagnostic tests, there could be a false elevation of urinary catecholamines can be reported, because this tetracycline can interfere with the fluorescence. Maybe that the procedure or analytical system that actually rely on fluorescence intensity, so that can be affected by this tetracycline. So false elevation of urinary catecholamine can be there. So this is all about tetracyclines. I think most of the things have been covered, because the material has been collected from different sources. So I don't think something has been left. I have covered most of the important things, or you can say 90% of the things. 100% nobody can cover. So you should be able to answer all the questions if you get it, or you can just do a test. You find out questions from the tetracycline chapter and start doing. Let's see how many questions you are able to solve after attending this session. So this can give you an idea about, if you need something extra help, I can always give that help to you. Guys, again I am reminding you the importance of this app. This app is necessary for you guys, because you are students and you are on the receiving side, that you should all receive the information regarding the classes and all that. So for that you have to come on this group. You have to join this group through this Telegram app. So here you get all the information either posted by the educators themselves or the academic group Unacademy people, you get all the information about the classes, timing, date, topic, all that. So you can always take out time from your daily routine to watch any topic of your interest, or your favorite educator and all that. So that way this help app will help you a lot. Other than that, if you are not aware of, let me remind you once again, this is an Unacademy learning app which is devised by Unacademy, and this learning app is available for both iOS and Android operating system. And if you have this app, then only you can attend one more portal is there for free classes, that is special classes. They are named special classes because they are really special in the sense that you have opportunity to interact with educators. So these classes are little interactive, so that you do not get this such an opportunity you don't get on NEET PG Live Daily, that is Unacademy NEET PG channel on the YouTube. And other thing is, if once you start following a particular educator on this app, you can send direct message. So any issues which you think is not able to resolve yourself, you can direct it to the message educator. He would come up with the solution of that. So don't worry, that will be given to you. And moreover, this special class, the platform or the interface is really good. You will enjoy it. And this has been specially created to give you the feel about how the Unacademy NEET PG Plus will look like. But that is a premium service that had lot many other facilities which are not available on other platforms. But being an educator, I am available at all platforms, and you can, if you like my lectures, you can come and join it everywhere. I am available at all the platforms. So for those who require premium service and they are ready to pay for it, so Unacademy has this NEET PG Plus program for that. And this is really a good opportunity for you to actually improve your or in chances of cracking an exam, because you always need a guidance. You are not that matured. You need guidance from the expert of the field, other senior, those who have already experienced this a lot, and they have been into this for years together. So this subscription is available for 24 months as well as 12 months. I have already told you the benefits of both, and I would assure you, if you keep working hard and you are focused, you will definitely be benefited with this. Because ultimately, even if we teach you everything and you don't study or learn those things, then nobody can make you successful. So your efforts are of paramount importance. So this, if you use my referral code, you will definitely get a 10% discount, and the fee for both the subscription, that is for 1 year and 2 years, are ranging from 20,000 to 25,000. So I don't find this is a very big amount, and one can I suppose one can afford it for the number of services you are getting in return. So this is a good negotiation, and you can pay by any electronic mode which you feel is convenient to you. And these are the advantages. I would enumerate you and list you the advantages, but once again, let me remind you that use this code. If you want to join this Unacademy NEET PG Plus, but being an educator and experience, and with my this thing, I always would like you guys to be on this platform, because this is definitely required, because that keeps you engaged actually. And these are the all facilities, special extra facilities I have already elaborated about in the beginning itself. So these all facilities will definitely going to improve your learning and all that. And this is one-stop solution, means all services under one roof. And this is one subscription with unlimited access and all that. So because Unacademy knows the need of the learners, what actually they want, that is why this Unacademy NEET PG Plus has incorporated all these features in this particular subscription service. So no one else know better than this, what actually these learners want. But anyway, you are on this NEET PG Live Daily, you attend it, fine, you have subscribed to it, and tell other also, you can share this link to others also, so more and more people get linked to or join this platform. And if you like my this lecture, please give me a thumbs up, that actually boost up my morale as well. And share this link or share this lecture to your friend, as many as friend you can, because sharing is caring. And if you have any issues, you can always come on NEET PG in this Unacademy learning app, and can follow me, can send me any query. I would love to answer those. So please take it as an opportunity to exploit these free services and all that. And with this, I think I have nothing more to say. This is time to take it's time to take a leave from you. And with this, I say goodbye and good night.